What's up, guys? It's your host, Sharnette Evans and
Tanya Washington.
And we are your hosts for Screens, Pages, and Beats. We are your librarians here at CGO Kelly. I hope that you all come and visit us so that you all can really get to know who we are. We want to get to know who you are. But we wanted to kick this podcast off just to offer up a platform of just information, but more so entertainment. I think you all are zoomed out. You all have been through a lot this past year, and we just wanted to offer up a platform where we can just have dialogue about different content that might interest you. So today our topic is about the evolution of Black males in cinema. How have you seen our Black male characters from the past into now? And it really touches base to a lot of our own experiences, not necessarily as a Black male, but as we have experienced with a Black male, as we have witnessed what Black males have went through. But just a little background about myself. I'm your evening and weekend reference librarian here. You can always catch me in the evening time. I'm originally from Rocky Mount. Went from Winston-Salem. I was raised in Rocky Mount, graduated from A&T. And so here we are. And yeah, we just wanted to have a great time. Kick your feet back, relax. With whatever you're cleaning up, whatever you're doing, just keep us on play and go. All right. I'm going to pass over there to Tanya so she can give a background about herself as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Tanya Washington, and I am your reference and education librarian. I'm also the liaison librarian to the English and Foreign Language Department, and that's just a fancy way of saying that I am the go-to person for those departments, but I work for everyone. So I am from Florence, South Carolina, and I am a 94 graduate of Winston-Salem State University. And I am so happy to be speaking with you guys. And I am so excited about this podcast. And I hope that you will be too. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Sharnette, who is going to give you a little information about the films we're going to be talking about here today. Sharnette.
So shout out to Tanya that, she's a ram. I went on and became an aggie, but I'm gonna keep that moving. I'm gonna keep that rolling. But today, so we are gonna be discussing 3 films. One is called One Night in Miami, which you can find on Amazon Prime. Correct, Tanya?
That's right.
And then also we're going to be discussing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. There was a lot of background and information that came out about that on Netflix, where you can find it on Netflix, excuse me. And then our third movie is Soul, where you can find on Disney. And so although some of you all, and mind you, we don't want to be spoiler alert. So if you don't want to know about some of the things, we're not going to really discuss, give the movie away, but we want to discuss the movie enough so you can kind of get an idea of what it's about, how you can relate to it, how we can all kind of relate to these Black males who are depicted in each film in a different light, but they share the same common goals. And so we first want to kick off with talking about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Tanya, what did you think about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom? How did that speak to you in the roles of Black males? What did that movie say to you?
Well, first of all, I just thought the movie was just absolutely wonderful. I had heard of the play. There was a play that had been done, or several different plays that had been done, I believe, in the past. But even with all of that, I had never seen it. And I honestly, and I think I was talking to you about this when we spoke about these films before, that I had honestly I didn't realize Ma Rainey was a real person. And I feel bad about saying that, but I honestly did not realize that. But this is the great thing about film. I'm such a film nut, and so many things can be learned from film. And there's so many educational opportunities and chances to just educate yourself on things and people that you didn't even know about.
Right.
So understanding that she was a real person and that this really happened, these people were an actual aspect of time, not necessarily what went on in the film, but that was just exciting for me. And I just thought every performance was just exceptionally well done. We will both speak on Chadwick's performance because, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. And if we're talking about the depictions of Black men in cinema, I mean, this movie takes place in the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
And so the experiences of the men in that film are so not vastly different from what takes place in future films, but their outlook on it. And I think there's a sense of, for me, that sense of hopelessness, like this is our life and nothing's ever going to change. And there was no talk about Martin Luther King or anyone that was really uplifting, and people had to kind of uplift themselves. So there was a sense of that hopelessness, but also that hopefulness. And a lot of that just came through in all of the roles. And I just felt like it was just a really powerful and bold film.
I thought it was too.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of just piggyback off what you said about hopelessness, let's look at this time frame. 1930s, Black people can't vote. Women can't vote.
Let's put it this way: the 15th Amendment had been ratified by Congress, but it was like, yeah, you got this law over here that says Black men can vote, women could not, but Black men on paper could. But you go and you try to vote in 1930s as a Black man.
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
So so what you said, because after we talked about this, I kind of went and did some digging just to make sure we were relaying, the right stuff. And I said, okay, well, Black men had the right to vote, but that wasn't happening.
Now, and I don't want to get too off topic, but with Black men being able to vote, wasn't the grandfather clause and all those kind of things put into that?
Well, see,
or is that afterwards?
Like I said, Congress had ratified the amendment. The amendment was in place, but states still weren't recognizing it.
Okay.
It wasn't being recognized. I mean, it was just like, your mom tells you the rule of the house is don't wear your shoes in the house.
Right.
But you walk through the house anyway, and you know what I'm saying? And get hurt, of course, get hurt.
That's right.
It's like it's not really enforced.
That's right.
The law was in place, but it wasn't being enforced. So
that's right. Yeah. And always I brought that up, you all, because I'm trying to give a background of what Black people were going through during this time. And so Chadwick Boseman's character, he's so ambitious. He knows what he wants, right? And I say this because a lot of times we know what we want. We know what we want to do. It's the fact that, are you going to just go out and be a go-getter and get it? Because everything, you might not have the support, you might not have the resources around you. And to have his mindset at that time that he was like, you know what? I know what I want to do. I'm going to write this. I'm going to do that. But the fact that they showed different male perspectives in that film, you had this older man that was in the band with them, and he was more of a philosopher, right? He was already talking about the air not being clean and the water and stuff like that already during that time. He was already aware of how it was going to affect the environment, our people, what we're living in. Because you got to think about it, factories or anything like that, we're breathing in those types of things, right? We're right around that. It's another guy who's in there. He's in the band. You'll hear him, a one and a two, and you know what to do. Y'all see who he is, but he kind of fell in line with whatever the rules are, right? Yeah. And mind you, it's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes rules are meant to be broken when it oppresses a group of people, correct? I mean, slavery was a law, right? Did that make it right? Did that make it right? So the reason why we're coming from this point is because you're really able to see just the different male point of views and different perspectives in this film. And what I also loved about it, just kind of stepping away from the Black male perspective, but the movie was about Ma Rainey too, of course, with the name. And what I loved about her is, here it is, you have this blues jazz singer. Where, Tanya, where was Ma Rainey from again?
Yeah, I looked that up. Columbus, Georgia.
Columbus, Georgia. Okay. So here it is, Ma Rainey, Black. She's a female, and she's bi, right?
Yeah.
Her say, and I bring this up because at that time, for you to just be out there with your sexuality and maybe, you know, maybe it wasn't so much that she was out, maybe the people around her just knew about it, but still in that time frame, man, she was bold.
She was very bold.
I like
what
go ahead, Tanya.
you said about her, the people around her. It might not have been something that someone stated. It was just, she lived her life in such a bold way that it was just known. And I wonder if her boldness kind of gave the people in her band, you know, that boldness that Chadwick had, that everyone was kind of like, you need to hush, man, you need to stop talking. Right. But I wonder if he picked up on the fact that the way that she lives her life, and that kind of influenced him. You know, we got a lot of movies talking about influence things. As we go through the conversation, a lot of people are influenced by something in one way or another in the film. And perhaps, and I didn't even think about this when we were talking before about the movie, but maybe, you know, the way that he was in that film was in many ways indicative of what he saw out of her.
Right. And that's a good point, because you think about nothing we do, like we're doing it on our own, right? Even the things that we experience, it's not just for us, right? We experience things, it toughens us out. Why is it toughing us out? Maybe someone else is going to come along with the same struggles, with the same things, and you don't know how, like Tanya said, how that can be an influence. And you really just get to see each character just in how they started, how they've grown, what made them the way that they are, what gave them that grit, you know, because in those times, and you'll see in the movie when he talks about his experience.
Just what you said about speaking about his experiences. And when we're talking about, you know, the evolution of the Black man in cinema, and I don't know, you know, if the vulnerable aspect that he showed in those instances, even with all the men in that movie showed in that film, would have been so highlighted in previous years, in previous kinds of films that have come out, that have, even in maybe the plays that were done, you know, how does that vulnerability come out and not be looked at as being weak? Right, because it's, you know, showing that emotion, showing that your feelings about that.
Right.
There's only so much you can go through, so many times you can be beat down and it not have some kind of effect. And for this to be shown, and for this to be welcomed in this space of this film, I just felt like that was a powerful statement about the way Black male characters are.
Because males don't have the opportunity or the room to just show their emotions. So those men looked at Chad Boswick before he kind of gave his monologue of just what he's been through and why he's like that.
Right.
They really just thought of him as, oh kid, get out of here, man. You don't know about life. You don't know what you're talking about. You just a little young buck. You know what I'm saying? And he basically said, hey man, don't get this twisted. Like, I might be young, but I am the way that I am because of what I've experienced. And if we are able to see our Black males being able to be vulnerable, right? We have our guards up because nobody wants to be hurt. I don't care who you are, nobody wants to be hurt. But when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, that's how we connect, that's how we grow. We
Right.
can only grow with the people around us. And with Black males in our community,
Mhm.
those are the first group of people that's beat down,
Yeah.
that's berated, that's made to try to feel small,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so that's why it's good that we encourage one another, encourage each other. It doesn't have to like, and I thought that was also like a lot of and it shows a lot of the aspects in the film,
Mhm.
just how that was and why it transpired into that way. But I digress. That was just a little snippet of how I felt about Black Ma Rainey's, about how and Tanya, I don't want to cut you off. Were you finished about?
No, yeah, that was
Okay.
great. Yeah, great. We actually have 2 more films that we are going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The next one, you'll find it. We do this a lot. We talk and conversations just arise. We share an office space. We're not in the same space today, but
Right.
we talk from time to time on things. We watch way too much TV.
This is how this got started, y'all, because we
do like to talk
Yeah.
about things that we enjoy. So you'll very rarely
Yes.
about stuff we didn't like. One film that we also enjoyed was One Night in Miami. And again, I don't know, Shawnette, do you want to start, or you want me to start?
You know what? I'll start. It's no problem. Because I can go on and on.
Okay.
For people who know, and Tanya can too, y'all. So if we have to come in and put and be like, okay, we're gonna do this way now. It's because we'll keep it moving. But One Night in Miami was so good. Like, and I say that because honestly, I really didn't know how the film was gonna go. I have seen pictures of Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. Those are the 4 men that are in this movie.
Mhm.
And I had seen like the real pictures before, but I had no context or any background to. I just thought they were just out. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know anything about it. But when I watched it, it really just allows for those men to share. And mind you, this is in the 1960s, Tanya.
Mhm.
So here it is. We're talking about, we just talked about the Chad Boswick and his character and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in the 1930s. Now we're moving over here to One Night in Miami. Now, at this time, Black people, these were talking about at least 30 years later, Black people we have moved on up. You know, you got more Black artists out here. You got more Black people that are out here. And mind you, at this time, this is during Martin Luther King time, Malcolm X. So there were a lot of big Black like leaders in this time who Black people, to me, we were more so together during this time because we didn't have the same rights that we have now or the same opportunities and things of that nature. But I'm getting that to say, there is a scene in there where Malcolm X is really getting on Sam Cooke, right? And I'm not, like I said, we don't want to give it away, but what Malcolm X is trying to put out there is, brother, you got this platform and you want to talk about love and doing the twist, whatever you want to do. We over here, Black folks is dying. Mm-hmm. We over here getting killed. We can't even openly just be who we are out in the public. How can you even sing? What place are you coming from that you can even sing about those things while our people are over here struggling and being oppressed? Right.
And I just wanted to chime in. I was checking on my phone.
Okay.
One Night in Miami. It took place in 1964. So yeah, we're in like the midst of so much going on.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wasn't the bombing of the 4 little girls? When was that? Wasn't that in 1964 too?
So many things happened that year. That was
did.
And so we're in the midst of
so many things going on. Mind you, at this time, Muhammad Ali is not Muhammad Ali. He's still Cassius Clay, right? Mm-hmm. So in this movie, in this movie, you really kind of get a background of him and Malcolm X relationship. Malcolm X really being a mentor to then Cassius Clay, but Muhammad Ali.
Mhm.
You really, because Muhammad Ali was a Christian, right? He's a Christian. He's seen how that, and I'm not, mind you, we're just talking.
Right.
He wanted to change from a religion that he felt oppressed Black people.
Mhm.
Okay. And so in going and switching over and transitioning to him wanting to be a Muslim,
Mhm.
Malcolm X really took him in. And so that's what makes this movie so powerful, because here it is, Jim Brown.
Mhm.
He's a football player, but Jim Brown has always been outspoken.
Right.
Always been outspoken. And during this time in the 1960s, although you had Black males that were outspoken, you didn't have Black males in the sporting arena.
Right.
Specifically, and mind you, there were a couple of Black males in sports who spoke out, but it wasn't the majority. It's not how it is now. How when LeBron James, when he was attacked, and I think somebody had like marked on his home or whatever about different stuff, calling him the N-word and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. These Black males now in sports, they speak out. They use their platforms. They're gonna speak about how Black people are being treated. Black Lives Matter, right? These are the types of platforms that our Black males and our Black people have the platform of utilizing at this time, but they didn't have that at this time, right?
Right.
So,
you had to be very protective, I guess, because you didn't, there weren't the instances where these opportunities were available.
Exactly.
So you got this thing about, I want to speak out about this, but at the same time, I kind of want to protect what I got. And because I say this a lot, because of them, we can. If they had spoken out at that time, do you really think that we would have so many African-American people occupying the positions that they occupy now?
Come on.
So, and I had spoken to you about this when we were talking before about, the conversation and, the challenge, I guess, that Malcolm put in front of Sam Cooke. He really asked him, he asked him these questions, these challenging questions. And it was like, who are you to tell me that I'm not Black enough?
Right. Or I'm not fighting for the cause.
Because my situation is different from yours.
Right.
How do you justify that? And so in this time frame, showing these men, these 4 iconic Black men having this conversation in this time frame, and you see that level of anger, that emotion, again, that vulnerability.
Yes.
Play. And it was just a well done film. If you watched it, and this stuff actually happened this night in this hotel room. And I was saying to you earlier how I expected, you're dealing with these 4 iconic men, and you're thinking it's going to be a film of all these sweeping speeches and grandeur, and it's just very intimate.
It is
very intimate.
Yes, that's what made it. I think really like more personable, because we all have our own views of how we see people who are famous.
Right.
And here it is, we can relate to these men who are experiencing the same things we are, because we share the same skin color. We will. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your status is.
Right.
You, as being a Black person, we all walk out here with that. We can't erase that. Right. We walk outside our door, our life is in danger just because the color of our skin. Right. And mind you, to me, it's elevated more for a Black male, because Black males in our society, they have tried to depict an image of Black males as being, I'm afraid. I don't know what they're gonna do. No, and that's why Malcolm was getting on Sam Cooke. And I don't really know the timeline. Tanya, do you mind? Can you look up when A Change Is Gonna Come came out? And while she's doing that, y'all, the reason why I'm asking is because in the film, after he has this, what year is that, Tanya?
1964. Now, I don't know exactly how many months after this night, because I believe this took place, let's see.
And why she's doing that, y'all, the reason why we're trying to look this up is because in the movie, after they're in the room, after Malcolm X is having this conversation with Sam Cooke, and mind you, this isn't, it started off, you know, it did kind of get a little heated, but they all came together because they understood where Malcolm X was coming from, why he was like this. But after that, Sam Cooke went on a show and he sung A Change Is Gonna Come. And that was like his first time putting that out, but it appeared that he had already been working on this song for a while. And that's why he really was telling Malcolm X, like, look, like Tanya had said, just because you don't see me saying that, or just because you don't hear it in my music, doesn't mean I don't feel it. Doesn't mean I don't see the struggles of my people. Doesn't mean I'm not out here trying to fight for the cause too. And that's the beautiful thing about it too, which kind of resonates with us as people. Think about this. You might not be out there with Black Lives Matter, but you might advocate for Black people in your job, right? You might advocate for your people in your community. You might advocate for people in your church. Whatever it is, we all have our own lanes and our own avenues where we can all actively, cohesively fight this fight together as people. And that's what I loved about it so much. I'm just like, oh, this just brought everything together. You just kind of just seeing what our Black males have to go through and how they were able to bond together as brothers and really share what they have going on and do it as one. So
yeah, so we really don't know exactly what was said in the room. We know based for the purposes of the film, you know, we know what we saw. But according to what I found out, it looks like the song was actually recorded in January of '64 and released in February of '64. But we're told, or we are led to believe, that the night in the hotel room was around February 25th of '64. So
okay,
because this conversation happened in the film doesn't mean this conversation could have happened a year ago.
Right, that's true.
It could have happened like last year, and perhaps that was said, and that was something that they thought was relevant to put in the film. It made for good cinema, you know, just a conversation about this song, and then the song comes out. And, you know, like I said, we're not going to tell you anymore. You just have to really see it. But I mean, it's just amazing. And, you know, as I said, so many things, and we keep talking about the evolution. You've got these four African-American men talking about the state of the world, but they, unlike the men in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, they're coming from a place where they expect better because they see the possibilities. We've come such a mighty, you know, long way, and they see that stand for this anymore. So you get to see that aspect play out. Still vulnerability, but the sense of we need to do this. We can do this.
Correct. So, just like you said, the influence. I'm sorry, Tanya.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying it. Just when you wrap that up, think about just that influence to change our mindset to know that we can have more. So,
exactly. Exactly. We do have our final film to discuss, which is Soul, and that was released on Disney Plus. It's a Disney Pixar, I believe. And we've got Jamie Foxx in the title role, and his role is that of a middle school, my goodness, a middle school band teacher. And, you know, it had me, when I realized what the setting was, I said, wow, you know, what the opening scene in this room. And I'm thinking, wow, thinking back, that was when I started in band. And I could not even imagine you don't even think about what your teacher is going through, but he was this teacher that was very
Excuse me, Tanya, what did you play? What instrument did you play?
Yeah,
Okay,
I was a
cool,
flute
cool,
player.
cool.
Yeah, and I still remember, my teacher. Wow, it just, it just comes back to you, and then you look at Jamie Foxx's character, and he's so disillusioned in his life because he feels like he's not making a change. He's not doing anything that's given him this life that he dreams of having. And
Mhm.
so, where the other two films were kind of talking about outward things, I found that Soul, I guess, indicative of the name, was more introspective. It was about, what do you want to be? What do you see yourself as inside? And so I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you, Sharnette, because I know you really, you were just all into this film and talked about constantly how much you loved it and how everybody had to see it. So I'm gonna let you.
I like Tanya said, I'm gonna tell y'all something, okay? I cried watching this film, okay? I cried. And if you if you have not seen Soul, please, please go watch it. Ask your friends for their passcode, for their Disney account. If you don't have
We're
it,
not condoning that.
okay, okay. Find a way, y'all. Find a way. But honestly, Soul really just touched on so many things because I'll say just to see like the evolution of which we're talking about Black males, but we'll go into other things. But here it is, like Tanya said, he's a middle school, he's a band teacher, and you think about, and they kind of release his age. I think he's like in his 40s or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
And this whole time in his life, he was fighting to fulfill his purpose, right? And I'm gonna get to that because I have to put quotation marks around purpose, because the thing in that film that was exposed was that the purpose that we think is for us is already here. We just have our vision of what we think it should be, right? Because of what we like to do or what our passions are. But a lot of times you can get so consumed in trying to fulfill your purpose and you lose sight of who you are and what's here. And so that's what made this beautiful, because when he finally got what he wanted, it was like, this it. Yeah. I mean, I've been, this is what I've been, and it's a thing in there. He talked to the woman that's in the band, and she gave him this what do you want to call it? When people give you like a story, like she kind of gave like an example, or like kind of, I don't want to say a fable, but it was
say a parable, but
a parable. Yeah, it's a parable, right? So she was like, the young fish asked the old fish, well, where is the ocean? I'm looking for the ocean. Where the ocean? And so the old fish is like, told the young fish, this is the ocean. You're right here. And the young fish is like, I thought this was just water, right? We're just here. Yeah. We're just here. And what he recognizes, what have I really been living for? And when he was able to step outside and actually see his life, he really seen how much he meant to other people. Right. He really seen that he did have a purpose. His purpose was the way that he encouraged his student. There's a scene in there where the student comes through and she just wants to play the trumpet. She knows that she's good at this, but she kind of wants somebody to, it's two things, because we do this. It's two things when a student come by. One thing is she kind of wants to feel comfortable and not wanting to be in band no more, right? It's like, okay, I'm tired of this. I'm done. Yeah. And then the other part of it is she wants to be encouraged to stay in there too, right? Yeah. And how many of us go through that, right? We have our highs, our lows. We question what we're doing, why we're doing it, right? And it go and that was the beautiful thing about the film, is that you just kind of just seeing that here it is, this man was able to see who he is. He was able to just acknowledge who he is and feel good about that. It didn't matter what your title is. It doesn't matter whether you're in a band or not. Are you living your purpose? Are you being fulfilled by what you're doing for who you are, right?
Right.
Even if you have a passion about something, that's not going to fulfill you if you're not already fulfilled and satisfied with yourself.
With yourself. That's just so well said. And I think back again, talking about the changing depictions and the evolution of Black men in cinema. And you look at Jamie Foxx's character, and he's talking about how he feels as a person inside and what he wants for his life. And the fact that these situations in these previous films in the 30s with the hopelessness or the hoping that things could change one day, but not really believing that they would. Then moving to the 60s, where you're still on this quest to for
hope.
Things, right. And then you have, in a sense, even though things aren't perfect about long shot, but you kind of almost have the dream realized, because Jamie Foxx can talk about how he feels as a person inside. And I don't have to be, I have these opportunities. He had the opportunity to be a high school band teacher, teaching children of all different races.
Right.
The chance to even go out and fulfill a dream of being, someone bigger in music.
Right.
And think about, all the things that these people fought for in these past films, and the struggles that they overcome, and the situations, the unfairness that they had to go through and deal with and just accept, for us to be a Jamie Foxx character in 21st century, because this takes place in like 2020. So, it's like all of these aspects and all of this evolution and all of these changes that are depicted in these films. And I just wonder, again, with a character of this nature, would this have been a situation or a character that would have been written 30 years ago? I don't think so.
Right.
So yeah. And
it wouldn't even have the place for that. Because here's the thing, when people try to act as if like racism isn't real, like if you just kind of just step back, right? Even if you didn't see color, right, and you just seeing that, you see these group of people over here appear that they don't have the same opportunities or the same resources, but they're still held to the same standard of what other group of people are held to, that have any and everything that they need and want. It's like literally starting at the start of a race, and somebody already being 10, 100, 200 meters in front of you already.
Yeah.
And we're playing catch up.
Yeah.
So as we're playing catch up, we have to play catch up and still focus on our dreams.
Yeah.
And still survive.
Yeah.
And still, okay, we got a lot of cards that we playing. Okay, Black folks, we good at playing cards. Okay. Hence why I play cards, everybody. That's my thing, right? We grow up into this and not even knowing it. And what I loved about, even what Tanya, said about, these men, the 30s in Ma Rainey, and the 60s, One Night in Miami, think about, we deal with so much trauma that's passed down, just like what she said about influence. This is trauma, how we deal with trauma. Right. And it goes into mental health in our community that's not dealt with, because we're so used to surviving. We're so used to picking up the pieces and going. And what I loved about each male in this film is you seen how they picked up the pieces. You've seen how they might have taken some blows, but they are here to tell their story. Yeah. They're resilient. These Black males, Black men in our community, they are resilient, right? And that's what makes this such a beautiful conversation. Yeah. Is because I don't think our Black men get enough credit for just being resilient. We're so used to Black males having to be strong. We're so used to them having to do this, and we don't take the time to just step back and just admire their tenacity and their bravery for for just being who they are.
Right. Yeah. And that's basically what we wanted to bring to this conversation. And we hope we have done that in some way. We hope that you guys will take what we've said and build upon conversations of your own. But right now, that's about it for this edition of our podcast, Screens, Pages, and Beats.